The widowed Millionaire'S triplet sons had only 3 hours to live until the poor waitress did the impossible. The emergency lights had been flickering for the past 20 minutes. But nobody seemed to care. Not really, not yet. Victoria Lane moved through the VIP mezzanine like she owned the place, which, in every way that mattered tonight, she did. Her heels clicked against the polished marble with the confidence of someone who'd orchestrated 100 events like this and could do it blindfolded. Charity galas, fundraisers, networking dinners where the real deals happened in whispered conversations by the bar, not on stage. Tonight's event was different. Though tonight was personal. Champagne flute to your left, darling, she murmured to one of the servers, a young guy whose name she'd never bothered to learn. He scrambled to adjust the table setting. Victoria didn't wait to see if he got it right. She had bigger fish to fry across the room. William Carter stood with his 3 sons clustered around his legs like planets orbiting the sun. The boys were identical, same sandy hair, same scattered freckles, same rocket print pajamas that had probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. It was almost 8:45, well past their bedtime. But Carter had insisted they stay for the photo op. Good father, devoted widower, generous philanthropist. Victoria's mouth curved into a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Mr. Carter," she said, gliding over with 2 glasses of sparkling water. She handed him one. "The photographers are ready whenever you are. We're thinking a shot with the boys in front of the foundation banner. It'll look wonderful in the press release." William took the glass without really looking at it. His attention was split 3 ways. One kid tugging on his sleeve, another trying to climb onto a chair, the third staring wide-eyed at the enormous jellyfish-shaped chandelier overhead. He looked tired, handsome, sure, in that effortless way rich men often did, but tired. The kind of tired that came from being both mother and father, from filling a space that used to hold 2 people. "Yeah, that's fine," he said absently, then raised his voice. "Ethan, get down from there. Noah, stop pulling. Liam, buddy, you good? The smallest one, Liam." Victoria nodded, but kept one hand pressed against his chest. She filed that away. "They're adorable," Victoria said, and she almost meant it. Kids were fine, useful, when they needed to be. Your wife would be so proud of what you're doing. Olivia's dream of accessible pediatric care is finally becoming real. Something flickered across William's face, grief maybe, or doubt. It was gone before Victoria could name it. "She'd be happy," he said quietly. "She always said healthcare shouldn't be a luxury." "Exactly." Victoria's smile sharpened. "Which is why tonight's partnership is so important. The foundation can do so much more with your backing. William, we can expand the respiratory care program. Bring in specialists. Really make a difference." She watched him carefully. He was close, so close. One more push, and he'd sign that contract tucked in her briefcase upstairs. The contract that would transfer not just his money, but control, management, access, everything. The lights flickered again. Longer this time. A few guests glanced up nervously. Victoria didn't miss a beat. "Just the storm," she said smoothly. "Generator's been a little temperamental, but maintenance assured me it's fine." It wasn't fine. She'd made sure of that. Down on the main floor, Emily Hayes was refilling water glasses with the mechanical efficiency of someone who'd done it 1,000 times. Her red uniform was faded in places, the fabric worn thin at the elbows. She moved through the crowd like a ghost, there but not there, visible only when someone needed something. She'd been on shift since noon, double shift. Rent was due in 4 days, and her landlord didn't take sob stories as payment. But Emily wasn't thinking about rent right now. She was thinking about the 3 little boys upstairs in their matching pajamas, and the way the smallest one kept touching his chest. She'd noticed it 20 minutes ago, the first time she'd brought up a tray of hors d'oeuvres. The kid Liam, she'd heard his father call him, had that look. The one Emily knew too well. She'd seen it on her brother's face years ago, right before everything went wrong. Emily, the hostess, snapped her fingers. "Table 6 needs more bread on it." She grabbed a basket from the kitchen, mine still upstairs. Maybe she was imagining things. Maybe the kid was fine. Rich people had access to the best doctors, the best equipment, the best everything. Kids like that didn't. The lights flickered a 3rd time. This time they almost went out completely. The crowd's chatter died for a heartbeat before the emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in a sickly yellow glow. Nervous laughter rippled through the room. Emily's stomach dropped. She looked up at the mezzanine just as the generator coughed, a deep, mechanical groan that vibrated through the floor. Then silence. Then a sound that made her blood run cold. A wheeze, sharp and desperate. No, not one wheeze. 3. She was moving before she could think, leaving the breadbasket on a random table, taking the stairs 2 at a time, her heart hammered against her ribs. Not again, please, not again. The VIP area had gone quiet, too quiet. A few guests stood frozen, drinks halfway to their mouths, staring at something Emily couldn't see yet. She pushed past them, and there they were, 3 5-year-old boys in rocket pajamas, sitting in oversized leather chairs that suddenly looked like thrones built for giants. Their little chests heaved with the effort of breathing. Ethan's lips were starting to tinge purple. Noah's mouth hung open. Gasping like a fish on dry land, Liam was shaking, tears streaming down his face. One hand clutching something at his neck, a cheap-looking pendant on a thin chain. William Carter stood over them, frozen in a nightmare. His phone was pressed to his ear, knuckles white. How long, he was saying, how long until no? You don't understand, they're all, his voice cracked, 3 hours. Jesus Christ. Emily's body went cold and hot at the same time. She knew that timeline. 3 hours until the airways closed completely. 3 hours until brain damage. 3 hours until she shoved the memory down. Not now. Victoria Lane stood off to the side, arms crossed, watching everything with an expression Emily couldn't quite read, not panic, not quite concern. Something else, something calculating. The rain hammered against the windows like it was trying to break in. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rumbled. The city was drowning, and the ambulance, if it was even coming, was stuck in it. Emily's hands were shaking, but she made them stop. She'd spent the last 8 years preparing for this without knowing it. Every first aid class she'd scraped together money for, every medical blog she'd read at 3 in the morning, every makeshift solution she'd memorized because hospitals cost money she'd never had. Her brother hadn't had 3 hours, he'd had 20 minutes, and nobody had known what to do. But Emily knew. She grabbed the first aid kit from behind the bar, the real one, not the decorative box they showed to health inspectors, and pulled 2 thermal bottles from under the sink. Her heart was trying to climb out of her throat, but her hands were steady now. Victoria noticed her first. "What are you doing?" Emily didn't answer. She walked straight up to William Carter and looked him in the eye. "Can I try?" He stared at her like she was speaking another language. What, to help them? Her voice was calmer than she felt. "Can I try?" For a long, impossible moment, nobody moved. The only sound was 3 little boys fighting for air that wouldn't come. Then William nodded. He didn't say yes, didn't say anything, just nodded. Because what else could he do? Emily dropped to her knees in front of the kids and opened the first aid kit. The clock on the wall read 9:03 p.m. The first thing Emily did was count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seconds between Ethan's breaths. That was bad. Noah's were coming faster but shallow or panic breathing, the kind that made things worse. And Liam, the smallest one, wasn't even trying anymore. His eyes had that glazed look like he was somewhere far away. "Hey," Emily touched Liam's knee gently. "Hey, astronaut, stay with me." Okay, his eyes focused on her. Just barely. Good enough. William was still on the phone, his voice climbing higher with each word. "I don't care what the roads look like. Send someone." "My sons are." He stopped, swallowed hard. "Yes, they all have it. The same condition their mother." Another pause. "How am I supposed to keep them calm when I can?" Barely. Emily tuned him out. She'd heard that conversation before, 8 years ago, with different players. Same script, same ending. Unless she changed it, the doctor's voice crackled through the speaker. Loud enough for Emily to catch, without nebulization within 3 hours. "Mr. Carter, their airways will close completely. I need you to understand what that means." Williams's hand shook so badly he nearly dropped the phone. "I understand," but he didn't. "Not really. You never understood until you watched someone you loved turn blue." Emily pulled out the thermal bottles, one filled with hot water from the coffee station, the other empty. Her mind was already working through the steps. Boil water, create steam, make the air humid enough to open their airways. Even just a little. It wasn't a nebulizer, but it was something. "I need towels," she said to no one in particular. "Clean ones. And cups plastic if you've got them." Nobody moved. Now would be good. One of the servers, Miguel, she thought his name was, jolted into action. The hostess followed. Even the bartender disappeared into the back. Victoria stepped closer, her voice low and sharp. "You're not a doctor." "Nope." Emily didn't look up. She was checking Ethan's pulse, counting in her head. "Too fast, but I'm here. And they're not. You could make things worse. They're already worse." Victoria's mouth tightened. But she didn't argue. Instead, she pulled out her phone, fingers flying across the screen, texting someone. Emily filed that away. Seemed like an odd time to be checking messages, but she had bigger problems. The generator groaned again, a death rattle that made the lights flicker wildly. For 3 long seconds, the room plunged into darkness. Someone screamed, then the emergency lighting kicked back in, dimmer than before, casting everything in shadows. Noah started crying, not the normal kid crying, but the breathless, hiccuping kind that came from true terror. "It's okay, buddy," William said, but his voice cracked on the last word. He knelt down next to his son, one hand on his back, totally useless. "Just breathe, just breathe." Emily wanted to tell him that panic was contagious, that the kids could feel his fear like a radio signal. But there wasn't time for lessons. Miguel returned with an armful of white linens. The hostess had plastic cups and a handful of straws. The bartender brought a hot plate, an old one they used for warming sauces, and an extension cord. "Plug that in," Emily said, pointing to an outlet near the wall. "I need to keep water hot." She worked fast, poured steaming water into one of the larger cups, held it under Ethan's face. "Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, slow, like you're blowing out birthday candles," Ethan tried. His little chest shuddered with the effort, but the steam seemed to help. The wheezing softened. "Just a fraction, 1 down, 2 to go." She repeated the process with Noah, crouching in front of him, making her voice as steady as she could. "You're doing great, sweetheart, just like your brother." In and out. Noah's eyes were wide and wet, but he nodded, tried. The sound of his breathing was still rough, like sandpaper on wood, but it was breathing. Liam was the hardest. He'd gone limp, head lolling against the chair back. Emily pressed 2 fingers to his wrist. Pulse was there, thready and fast, but there. "Liam," she patted his cheek lightly. "Come on, baby, I need you to wake up for me." Nothing. William made a sound like he'd been punched. "Is he?" "He's breathing," Emily said quickly. "But barely." "Help me sit him up." William moved like a man underwater, slow and clumsy with fear. Together they propped Liam forward, and Emily held the cup of steam right under his nose. She hummed low in her throat, an old lullaby her mom used to sing, back when things were simpler, and watched. Come on, Liam's eyelids fluttered. He coughed, a wet, rattling sound that was somehow the most beautiful thing Emily had heard all night. "There you go," she whispered. "There you go." For a moment, just a moment. It felt like they might be okay. Then the lights went out completely this time. They didn't come back on. The room erupted, voices overlapping, people fumbling for their phones. The blue glow of screens lighting up faces twisted with confusion and fear. Emily's heart lurched, but she kept her grip on the cup, kept the steam flowing toward Liam's face. "Everyone stay calm," Victoria's voice cut through the chaos. "Smooth and controlled, too controlled. We have backup lighting. Just give it a moment." But the backup lighting didn't come, and in the sudden darkness, Emily heard it, 3 distinct sounds, cutting through everything else. Wheeze, wheeze, wheeze. The boys were crashing again. No. Williams's voice was barely human. "Please, not again." Emily's mind raced. The hot plate was dead. The water would cool fast. And steam only worked if it stayed hot enough to keep the airways open. She needed another plan. A phone flashlight clicked on, held by Miguel, then another and another, until the mezzanine looked like a concert venue. All scattered stars and harsh shadows. Emily grabbed the first aid kit again, dumping out contents she'd memorized by feel: saline, gauze, medical tape. Not enough, not nearly enough. "Do we have any more hot water?" she called out. "Anything. Kitchens, electric," the bartender said. "Nothing's working." Of course it wasn't. Emily's hands were shaking again. She pressed them flat against her thighs, forced them still. Think. There had to be something. Had to be. The candles. It was the hostess, pointing to the decorative centerpieces on each table. "They're real. We could boil water over candles." Miguel sounded doubtful. "That'll take forever." "Then we start now," Emily snapped. She didn't wait for permission, grabbed the nearest candelabra, handed it to Miguel. "Get every candle you can find, metal pots from the kitchen, small ones that'll heat fast, move people scattered." Emily turned back to the boys, her chest tight with something between determination and desperation. Ethan was wheezing again, his small fingers clutching the armrests. Noah had gone quiet, which was worse than crying, and Liam was so pale. William was shaking, actually shaking, his whole body trembling like he was the one who couldn't breathe. "Mr. Carter," Emily grabbed his shoulder, forced him to look at her. "I need you to trust me. Can you do that?" He stared at her, this stranger in a faded uniform, this nobody who worked double shifts and probably didn't even have health insurance. and something in his face broke open. "I don't have a choice," he whispered. "No," Emily said. "You don't." Outside, the storm hammered down like the world was ending. The rain was so loud it drowned out everything except the sound of 3 little boys fighting for air, and somewhere in the darkness, Victoria Lane was smiling. The candles came in waves, tapers, the expensive beeswax pillars from the entrance display. Miguel and 2 other servers lined them up on the marble bar top like a shrine. Emily had 3 small pots going, water trembling toward a boil that felt like it would never come. "Talk to me about what you're doing." Emily glanced up. William had moved closer, his voice rough but steadier than before. He was trying. She'd give him that steam therapy, she said, watching the first pot. Tiny bubbles were forming on the bottom, almost there. Their airways are inflamed, swollen shut. Hot steam helps open them up, makes it easier to breathe. It's not a cure, but it buys time. Will it work? It has to. Not exactly reassuring. But it was honest. William seemed to appreciate that the water started to simmer. Emily grabbed a kitchen towel, wrapped it around the pot handle, and brought it over to where the boys sat. Their breathing had gotten worse in the minutes it took to heat the water sharper. More labored, Noah was crying silently now, tears cutting tracks down his flushed cheeks. "Okay, astronauts," Emily said, keeping her voice light. "We're gonna play a game. It's called Spaceship Fog. See this steam? That's the fog from planet Nebula, and we need to breathe it in to power our rockets. Think you can do that?" Ethan nodded weakly. Noah just stared. Liam didn't react at all. Emily positioned the pot carefully, creating a makeshift tent with one of the towels draped over a chair back. "Lean in, just a little, not too close. Don't want you getting burned. That's it. Now breathe, nice and slow," she demonstrated, exaggerating the inhale and exhale. Ethan copied her first. His wheezing didn't stop, but it eased just slightly, just enough. "Good job." "Pilot," Emily said. "Your turn, Noah." Noah hesitated, then leaned forward. The steam wreathed his face, and after a few breaths, his shoulders dropped half an inch. The panic in his eyes dimmed. 2 down, William knelt beside Liam, one hand on his son's back. "Come on, buddy. Just like your brothers." But Liam was too far gone. His head kept drooping forward, and his breath came in tiny, insufficient gasps. Emily made a split-second decision. She grabbed one of the empty plastic bottles from earlier, a water bottle someone had left on the table, and cut the bottom off with a pocket knife from the first aid kit. Then she positioned it like a funnel, directing the steam straight toward Liam's face. "Breathe with me," she whispered, her forehead almost touching his. "In 2, 3, 4, out. 2, 3, 4, she counted, over and over. A rhythm, an anchor, slowly, painfully, slowly. Liam's breathing began to match hers. The blue tint on his lips faded to pink. His eyes opened, just a crack. "There you are," Emily breathed. William made a sound halfway between a laugh and a sob. For the next 20 minutes, they maintained the routine. Fresh pots of water, towel tents, breathing games. Emily taught William how to count breaths, how to watch for the subtle signs, color returning to the skin, the easing of shoulder tension, the shift from panic to exhaustion. "You're good at this," William said quietly, holding the towel steady while Ethan breathed. Emily didn't answer. She was watching Victoria. The manager had been hovering at the edge of the scene, phone in hand, expression unreadable. She'd made herself useful exactly once, handing over a box of tissues, but otherwise she just watched, like she was waiting for something. When Emily went back to the bar to heat more water, she found the saline solution gone. "Anyone move the saline?" she called out. Blank stares, shrugs. It was right here. Emily pointed to the spot where she'd left it, next to the first aid kit, the little squeeze bottle. "Maybe it fell," Miguel suggested. Already looking under the counter, they didn't find it. Instead, they found a half-empty bottle of tap water sitting exactly where the saline had been. Emily's stomach went cold. She picked up the bottle, unscrewed the cap, sniffed it. Definitely tap water. Not sterile, not safe to use near open airways. "Who brought this up here?" she asked. No one answered. Emily's eyes found Victoria. The manager met her gaze without flinching, one eyebrow slightly raised. "A challenge, or maybe a warning. We'll make do without it," Emily said finally. But her mind was racing. Things kept going wrong after that. Small things, the kind of things that could be accidents. The electrical outlet nearest to Emily's setup suddenly stopped working. Miguel had to run an extension cord from across the room, which meant less mobility, less flexibility. One of the pots tipped over, allegedly because someone bumped the table, spilling half their hot water supply. It took another 15 minutes to boil more. The storage closet where they kept backup supplies locked, and Victoria, who supposedly had the key, couldn't seem to find it. "I'll call maintenance," she said, not quite meeting Emily's eyes. "Don't bother," Emily replied. Her voice was flat. "We'll manage," but it was getting harder. The boys were stable, barely, but stable wasn't the same as safe. Every breath was still a fight, and the clock was ticking. 2 hours left, maybe less. Emily's hands were cramping from holding hot pots and makeshift steam tents. Her back ached from crouching at kid height, but she didn't stop, couldn't stop. William had taken over monitoring Liam, mimicking everything Emily had taught him. He counted breaths, adjusted the towel, sang softly under his breath some lullaby Emily didn't recognize. But Liam seemed to respond to it, his tiny hand reaching up to clutch his father's sleeve. "You're doing great," Emily told him. William laughed bitterly. "I'm useless." "You're the one." "You're here," Emily interrupted. "You're present." "That's not useless." Something shifted in his expression. Gratitude, maybe. Or shame that it took a stranger to keep his kids alive. Noah tugged on Emily's sleeve. "I'm scared," he whispered. Emily's heart cracked a little. "I know, sweetheart. But you're so brave, you know that. Braver than most grown-ups I know. Really, really." She smoothed his hair back from his forehead. "And you know what brave people do? They keep going. Even when it's hard," Noah nodded, solemn as a judge. That's when Emily noticed the pendant around Liam's neck. It had slipped out from under his pajama top, a cheap metal heart on a thin chain. The kind you'd get from a craft fair or a clearance bin. There was a name engraved on it, crude and uneven. Olivia. "That was their mother's," Emily asked William quietly. He nodded. "Liam won't take it off. He thinks it keeps her close." Emily's throat tightened. She knew that feeling. The desperate need to hold on to someone you'd lost. The magical thinking that said, if you just kept this one thing safe. Maybe they weren't really gone. She looked down at the pendant in her own hand. The one she never took off. Smaller than Liam's. Even cheaper. No name engraved. Just a smooth silver surface she'd rubbed shiny over the years. "Her brother's, it does," Emily said. "Keep her close. That's real." William's eyes were wet. "Thank you for everything. I don't even know your name, Emily." She managed a tired smile. "Emily Hayes, William Carter. But I guess you knew that. Kind of hard to miss." They shared a moment of exhausted humor. Then Ethan started wheezing again, and the moment was gone. Emily was reaching for another pot of water when she heard it. A voice. Low and urgent, coming from the hallway. Victoria's voice. "Tonight, I know it's not ideal, but we need him. Desperate." "No, the equipment's been handled. Just stay on schedule." Emily froze. Moved quietly toward the doorway, staying in the shadows. Victoria was on her phone, back turned. One hand pressed against the wall like she needed the support. "Once he signs, we'll have access to everything. The foundation, the trust fund. The whole treatment program. Yes, I'm sure. The boys will be fine. They have to be, for this to work." Silence. "Then I'll handle the waitress. She's nobody. No one will listen to her." Emily's blood turned to ice. She backed away slowly. Carefully, until she was out of earshot. Her mind was spinning. The equipment's been handled. The missing saline, the locked closet, the convenient accidents. This wasn't just bad luck. This was sabotage. Emily's hands moved on autopilot, adjusting towels, checking temperatures, counting breaths, but her mind was somewhere else entirely. Replaying Victoria's words like a broken record. The equipment's been handled. She needed proof. Something concrete. Because right now, all she had was a overheard conversation and a gut feeling. And neither of those would hold up if Victoria decided to throw her under the bus. "Emily," William's voice pulled her back. Noah's breathing sounds off again. She crossed to Noah quickly, pressing her ear close to his chest. The wheezing had returned. Rougher than before, not critical yet, but heading that direction. "Let's get more steam going," she said, keeping her voice level. No point in scaring the kid more than he already was. While William repositioned the towel tent, Emily knelt down beside Liam's chair. The smallest boy was dozing fitfully, his breathing shallow but steady. His little hand was curled against his chest. Clutching that pendant, something crinkled under Emily's knee. She looked down. A piece of paper, folded small, had fallen from Liam's pajama pocket. Emily picked it up carefully. Glancing at William, he was focused on Noah, murmuring encouragement. Emily unfolded the paper. It was a drawing, crayon. The cheap, waxy kind that came in restaurant kids' menus. 3 stick figures holding hands, easy to recognize as the triplets from their identical size. Next to them stood a taller figure, a woman with her hair pulled back in a bun around her neck, drawn in careful detail. Was a heart-shaped necklace broken in half, just like the pendant Liam wore. Emily's pulse quickened. She flipped the paper over, on the back, in the wobbly handwriting of a 5-year-old. We're 6 words. Aunt V says new air is better. Aunt V, Victoria. Emily's blood ran cold. She looked up, scanning the mezzanine for the manager. Victoria was across the room now, talking to a couple of remaining guests. Her expression, the picture of concerned professionalism. Emily folded the drawing and slipped it into her own pocket. Then she stood, mind racing. New air. What the hell did that mean? She moved to where the new nebulizers sat in their box, the ones Victoria had mentioned earlier. The expensive, state-of-the-art equipment that was supposed to be for the charity demonstration. The ones that had mysteriously malfunctioned right before the boys' crisis started. Emily pulled one out, turning it over in her hands. It looked legitimate, professional packaging. Medical-grade plastic. But something felt wrong. She found the label on the back, read it once, then again. The serial number had a sticker over it, a new sticker, placed slightly crooked, not quite aligned with the edges of the original label underneath. Emily's hands were shaking as she picked at the corner with her fingernail. The sticker peeled away, Isley to Isley, like it had been applied recently. Underneath was another label, older, faded, and expired. 6 months expired. Son of a bitch, Emily breathed. Everything okay? She nearly jumped out of her skin. Miguel had appeared at her elbow carrying another pot of hot water. Yeah, Emily said quickly, stuffing the nebulizer back in the box. Just checking something, but Miguel was looking at her with an odd expression, like he wanted to say something but wasn't sure he should. What? Emily asked. He hesitated, then leaned in close. I saw her, Ms. Lane, last week. I was doing inventory in the storage room, and she came in with these boxes, medical equipment, she said. But when she left, she took the old boxes with her, the ones we'd been using for the staff first aid kits. Emily's heart hammered. Why didn't you say anything? I thought she was just upgrading supplies. She's always doing stuff like that for the events. Miguel looked uncomfortable, but the way she was acting, real secretive, made me sign an NDA about seeing any of the charity equipment before the event. Said it was about confidentiality. An NDA, Emily repeated flatly. Yeah, I thought it was weird. But she's the boss, you know, he shifted his weight. Is something wrong? Emily wanted to scream. Instead, she forced herself to think, where's the storage room? Downstairs past the kitchen. Can you show me? Miguel glanced at the boys, then at William, then back at Emily. Right now. They're stable for the moment, Emily said. I'll be 5 minutes, please. Something in her tone must have convinced him, because he nodded. Follow me. They moved quickly through the dim restaurant, past tables still set with half-eaten desserts and abandoned champagne flutes. The emergency lighting cast everything in shades of yellow and shadow. It felt like walking through a dream or a nightmare. The storage room was at the end of a narrow hallway. Miguel tried the handle. Locked. It's never locked, he said, frowning. We need to access supplies during service. Emily stepped back, studying the door. Standard commercial lock, nothing fancy. She pulled a bobby pin from her hair, one of 3 holding her bun together, and straightened it. What are you doing? Miguel hissed. Something probably illegal, Emily muttered, working the pin into the lock. Look away if you want plausible deniability. It took 30 seconds. The lock clicked, and the door swung open. The storage room was small and cramped, lined with metal shelves holding linens, cleaning supplies, and boxes of dry goods. But on the bottom shelf, partially hidden behind a stack of tablecloths, was a cardboard box. Emily dragged it out. Inside were more nebulizers, the old ones. Presumably, she checked the labels, all current, all properly certified, all in working order. Why would she replace good equipment with expired stuff? Miguel asked. Emily didn't answer. She was staring at something else in the box, a manila folder, bent at the corners like it had been shoved in hastily. She opened it. Inside were receipts, purchase orders, all made out to something called the Wellness Tomorrow Foundation. The amounts made Emily's eyes water. Thousands of dollars for medical equipment, administrative fees, consulting charges. But the equipment listed didn't match what was in the box. Not even close. This says they bought top-of-the-line ventilators, Emily said slowly. But these nebulizers are bargain brand, the kind you get at a medical supply discount store. So where's the rest of the money? Miguel asked. Good question. Emily kept digging. At the bottom of the folder was a photocopy of a check. A big one, made out to Victoria Lane in the memo line. Consulting fee, September disbursement, $50,000. Jesus, Miguel whispered. Emily's mind was racing. A fake charity, inflated purchases, expired equipment substituted for real stuff, and Victoria collecting payouts while children's lives hung in the balance. We need to tell someone, Miguel said. Who? Emily challenged. She's the one running this event. Everyone here works for her. And Mr. Carter, she stopped. Mr. Carter trusted her. She's been managing his wife's foundation project. If I go to him with this right now while his kids are barely breathing, he's either going to think I'm crazy or he'll confront her, and she destroy the evidence. Miguel finished. Exactly. Emily grabbed the folder and the box of real nebulizers. Help me carry these upstairs. Quietly, they were halfway back to the mezzanine when Emily heard voices ahead. She grabbed Miguel's arm. Pulling him into a shadowy alcove near the kitchen entrance, Victoria walked past, phone pressed to her ear. Don't care what it takes, the contract needs to be signed tonight. Once he transfers management to the foundation, we're clear. A pause, the boys will be fine. They have to be. Dead kids are bad for business, she laughed. Actually laughed. Emily's hands clenched into fists. Miguel looked like he was going to be sick. Victoria's voice faded as she turned the corner. Emily waited 5 more seconds, then moved. They took the back stairs to the mezzanine, the box between them, when they arrived. William was exactly where she'd left him, crouched between his sons, looking like a man who'd aged 10 years in the past hour. Ethan and Noah were awake, but barely. Liam was still sleeping. That pendant clutched tight in his fist. Emily set the box down carefully. Inside were the real nebulizers, the ones that might actually save these kids' lives, if only they had power to run them. William noticed her expression. What's wrong? Emily pulled out the drawing. Unfolding it, does Liam draw a lot, all the time? Why, she handed it to him, watched his face as he processed it. The woman with the broken heart, the words on the back, Aunt V.A., William said slowly. His expression was unreadable. Victoria's been coming around, Emily asked carefully. She visited a few times. After Olivia died, bringing food, helping with paperwork. His voice was distant. The boys liked her. She brought them candy. Emily pulled out the folder. I need you to look at something. William's hands trembled as he flipped through the folder. His face went pale, then red, then pale again. A cycle of disbelief and rage that Emily recognized. She'd felt it herself, 8 years ago, when she'd learned that her brother's death could have been prevented if someone had just cared enough to check the equipment. These receipts, William said, his voice barely above a whisper. This is my money. From Olivia's trust, the foundation? Emily asked. He nodded, jaw tight. After she died, I couldn't handle organizing everything myself. The donations, the equipment purchases, the partnerships. Victoria offered to help. Said she had experience with nonprofits. His laugh was bitter. I thought I was lucky to have her. Emily pulled another paper from the folder, a printout of an email chain. Look at the dates. She's been skimming for months, William read, his expression darkening with each line. The emails were between Victoria and someone named Gerald Hoffman, apparently a medical supply vendor. The tone was casual, almost friendly. Phrases like our usual arrangement and standard markup appeared throughout. Standard markup, William repeated. She charged me $12,000 for nebulizers that cost $300. He looked up at Emily, something breaking in his eyes. While my wife was dying. I'm sorry, Emily said quietly. And she meant it. The foundation was Olivia's dream, William continued, his voice cracking. She wanted to build a public pediatric respiratory ward, somewhere families like ours wouldn't have to choose between treatment and bankruptcy. She spent her last months planning it, drawing up proposals, making lists of what equipment they'd need. He gestured to the expired nebulizers in their box, and Victoria turned it into a goddamn scam. A sound from across the room made them both freeze. Ethan was coughing, a wet, rattling sound that sent Emily's heart into her throat. She was at his side in 3 steps. Repositioning him, checking his breathing. The cough subsided after a moment, but his color wasn't good. None of them looked good. The makeshift steam treatments were keeping them alive, but barely. They needed real medicine, real equipment. How much time? William asked. Emily checked her phone. Hour and a half, maybe less. William stood, the folder still in his hand. His whole body vibrated with barely contained fury. Where is she? Wait. Emily grabbed his arm. If you confront her now, she'd just deny everything. Or worse, she'd destroy the evidence. We need more. William's voice rose. My kids are dying because of her, and you want more. I want her to pay, Emily shot back. Really pay, not just fired, not just embarrassed. I want her in handcuffs, and for that, we need a complete picture. William stared at her for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nodded. What do you need? Everything you have about the foundation. Documents, contracts, anything she had you sign. Most of it's digital, stored in the cloud. He pulled out his phone, fingers flying across the screen. Give me a minute while William worked. Emily turned to Miguel, the hostess. What's her name? Jasmine. Can you get her? Quietly, Miguel disappeared. Emily went back to the boys, checking pulses, adjusting steam positions. Noah reached for her hand, his grip weak but insistent. Is my dad mad? He whispered. Emily smoothed his hair back. Not at you, sweetheart. Never at you. At Aunt V. The kid was too perceptive for 5 years old. Maybe a little, Emily admitted. But everything's going to be okay. She hoped it wasn't a lie. Jasmine arrived with Miguel, her expression wary. What's going on? How long have you worked here? Emily asked. 3 years. Why you ever notice anything weird about Ms. Lane, especially around charity events? Jasmine's eyes narrowed. Why are you asking? Emily showed her the folder. Watched understanding dawn across the hostess's face. Holy shit, Jasmine breathed. I knew something was off last month. There was this gala for a children's hospital. Big donor event. Ms. Lane was supposed to deliver the equipment donations afterward. But I saw her loading boxes into her personal car, not the catering van, her car. Did you say anything? William asked sharply. Dude, who? She's my boss. I figured she had a reason. Jasmine looked sick. God. I should have said something. You're saying something now, Emily told her. What else? Jasmine thought for a moment. There was a guy came around a few times in the past year, always meeting with Ms. Lane in her office, fancy suit, expensive watch. They'd be in there for hours. You get a name. I heard her call him Gerald once. Emily and William exchanged looks. Gerald Hoffman, the medical supply vendor. There's more, Jasmine continued. About 6 months ago, I found something in the recycling. I was looking for an earring I'd lost, and there was this torn up letter. I pieced some of it together. She pulled out her phone. Scrolling through photos, I took a picture because it seemed important. Wasn't sure what to do with it. She held up the screen. The image showed fragments of paper, carefully arranged. The handwriting was elegant, feminine. Emily could make out phrases. Respiratory ward in his name. Public access, regardless of income. Trust fund should go directly to. That's Olivia's handwriting, William said. His voice strangled. This is from the letter she wrote before she died. The one outlining her vision for the foundation. Why would it be torn up? Jasmine asked. Emily knew why. Because it didn't match Victoria's version. She's been telling everyone about Olivia's dream. But she twisted it, made it vague enough that she could funnel money wherever she wanted. William was scrolling frantically through his phone now. Here are the contracts she had me sign last month. It says I'm transferring operational control of the foundation to a board of trustees. Pending approval of a management team. Let me guess, Emily said. Victoria picks the management team. She is the management team. She and 2 other people I've never heard of. William's face was ashen. If I had signed the addendum tonight, the one she kept pushing, I'd be giving her complete access to the boys. Medical trust. Everything Olivia set aside for their treatment. That's what tonight was about, Emily realized. The charity gala, the photo op with the boys, all of it. She was building to this moment. Get you emotional, get you grateful, get you to sign. And then the crisis happened, William said slowly. The perfect crisis. Me desperate. Willing to sign anything if it meant saving them, except the crisis wasn't an accident. Emily finished. She caused it. The expired equipment. The power failure. The inhalers they used this afternoon. William's voice was hollow. She brought them, said they were new, better than what we had. The boys each used one before the party, within an hour. They were all symptomatic. The room went silent except for the labored breathing of 3 little boys and the rain hammering against the windows. She poisoned them, Jasmine whispered. Oh my God, she actually poisoned them. Emily felt cold all over. Not poison, wrong dosage maybe, or contaminated, just enough to trigger a crisis. She needed you desperate, but she needed them alive. Dead kids don't sign trust funds over. William made a sound like a wounded animal. I'm going to kill her. No, Emily said firmly. You're going to let me finish documenting everything. Then you're going to call the police. And then you're going to make sure she never sees daylight again. A throat cleared behind them. They all turned. Victoria stood in the doorway, arms crossed, expression unreadable, having a little meeting. Are we? The air in the room shifted. It was like someone had sucked all the oxygen out, leaving only tension and the acid smell of fear. Emily felt her muscles coil, ready to move, though she wasn't sure what she'd do if it came to that. Victoria's smile was thin and sharp as a razor blade. I had a feeling you'd start getting ideas. Emily, that's the problem with people who think they're heroes, always digging where they don't belong. How long have you been standing there? William's voice was low, dangerous. Long enough. Victoria stepped into the room, her heels clicking against the marble like a countdown. And before you get any big ideas about exposing me, let me remind you where we are right now. Your sons have, she checked her watch with theatrical precision, approximately 73 minutes before respiratory failure becomes permanent. The ambulance still isn't here. The roads are flooded. And the only person keeping them alive is an unlicensed waitress playing doctor. Emily's jaw clenched. I'm doing more than you ever did, are you? Victoria's eyebrow arched. Because from where I'm standing, those boys look worse by the minute. And when they die, and they will die without proper medical intervention, who do you think will take the blame? The respected charity coordinator who tried everything to help? Or the desperate server who exceeded her authority and accidentally killed 3 children? The words hit like a physical blow. Emily felt William stiffen beside her. That's not going to happen, Emily said, but her voice wavered. No. Victoria pulled out her phone, tapped the screen. I've already documented everything. Timestamps of when you took over their care, photos of your, let's call them improvised methods. Statements from witnesses about how I warned you not to interfere, she smiled. I'm very thorough. You set this up, William said. His hands were shaking, whether from rage or fear. Emily couldn't tell. You knew they'd get sick. You planned this. I created an opportunity, Victoria corrected. There's a difference. I didn't make your sons inherit a genetic respiratory condition. I didn't make you a grieving widower, desperate to honor his dead wife's memory. I simply recognized the situation for what it was. A chance to finally get what I deserve, what you deserve. William took a step toward her. You've been stealing from my wife's foundation, from sick children, while Olivia was dying. Olivia was a saint. We get it. Victoria's mask cracked slightly, showing something uglier beneath. Perfect Olivia, with her perfect dreams and her perfect husband. Do you know how exhausting it is listening to everyone worship her memory? She's been dead for a year, William. Time to move on. Don't you dare. Oh, I dare. Victoria's voice turned cold. I spent 3 years working for a non-profit that paid me pennies, while people like you wrote checks for thousands and felt good about yourselves. I organized events, managed donors, did all the actual work while board members took credit. And when Olivia got sick, did anyone think about how I'd keep the lights on? About how I'd pay my bills? So you stole, Emily said flatly. I took what was owed to me. Victoria straightened her shoulders. Until that I'm finishing what I started. William is going to sign the management agreement transferring control of both the foundation and the medical trust. In exchange, I'll make one call that will get an ambulance here in the next 20 minutes. The room went silent. Even the boys seemed to sense the shift. Noah whimpering softly in his sleep. You don't have that kind of pull, William said. But doubt crept into his voice. Victoria smiled. My associate, Gerald, has a brother on the fire department. They've been holding an emergency response vehicle on standby, waiting for my signal. All I have to do is say the word. And your sons get the help they need, she paused. Or I don't make the call. And we see if Emily's steam tricks can last another hour. Emily's blood turned to ice. You're holding children hostage. I'm offering a business transaction. Victoria pulled a folder from her bag. The contract, Emily realized. Son, this, William, and I make the call. Your boys live. You get to keep being the devoted father, and I get to run the foundation the way it should have been run from the start. Everyone wins except the families who were supposed to benefit from Olivia's real plan, Emily said. Except them, Victoria agreed without a hint of shame. But that's not really your concern, is it? You're just the help. The word stung more than Emily wanted to admit. She'd spent her whole life being invisible, being dismissed, being told she didn't matter. But watching Victoria throw it in her face while 3 kids fought for air ignited something. The help, Emily repeated slowly. Who's keeping your victims alive? The help who found your paper trail. The help who's going to make sure everyone knows exactly what you did. Victoria laughed. With what evidence? The folder you're holding. I'll say you stole it. That you fabricated everything because you were desperate for attention. Who do you think they'll believe, a successful professional with a reputation? Or a waitress with no credentials who was playing doctor during an emergency? They'll believe me, William said. Will they? Victoria tilted her head. You're grief-stricken, desperate. You'd say anything if you thought it would help your sons. And by the time anyone investigates, the evidence will be gone. She held up her phone. One click, and everything gets deleted. The emails, the receipts, the recordings, all of it. Emily felt the walls closing in. Victoria had thought of everything. Every angle, every contingency, and the worst part was, she was probably right. Without hard evidence, it would be Emily's word against hers. Like nobody versus somebody unless you're right, Emily said suddenly. We can't prove anything, not right now. Not without more time, Emily. William started, but she held up a hand. So here's my offer, Emily continued. Looking Victoria dead in the eye, make the call. Get the ambulance here. Save the boys, and we'll forget we ever had this conversation. Victoria's eyes narrowed, just like that, just like that. Emily's voice was steady, even as her heart hammered. You walk away. We walk away. Nobody has to know, Emily. What are you? William began. The boys come first, Emily interrupted, still holding Victoria's gaze. Everything else is secondary. Isn't that right, Mr. Carter? There was a long pause, then, slowly, William nodded. The boys come first. Victoria studied them both, suspicion written across her face. You're lying, maybe, Emily admitted. But are you willing to bet 3 children's lives on it? Because if you don't make that call and something happens to them, there's no contract in the world that will save you from a murder charge. The silence stretched. Emily could hear her own heartbeat. Loud as thunder, finally Victoria pulled out her phone. Fine. But the second those boys are stable, you sign. Understood. Understood, William said through gritted teeth. Victoria dialed, spoke in low tones when she hung up. She looked almost disappointed. 20 minutes. The ambulance will be here in 20 minutes. Good, Emily said. What she didn't say was that 20 minutes was more than enough time for Miguel to finish uploading every document from that folder to William's secure cloud storage. More than enough for Jasmine to forward the photos to 3 different email addresses. More than enough for the bartender currently pretending to organize bottles at the far end of the mezzanine to finish recording this entire conversation on his phone. Victoria thought she was thorough. She had no idea. The 20 minutes felt like 20 hours. Emily kept moving, kept the boys breathing, kept her face calm even as her mind screamed every time she glanced at the clock. Fewer seconds had passed than she'd hoped. Time was doing that thing it did in emergencies, stretching and compressing simultaneously, making every moment feel both endless and desperately short. Victoria stood by the window, watching the rain like she had all the time in the world. Every so often, she'd check her phone, smile that thin smile, and go back to watching, waiting. She'd already won. In her mind, all that was left was the paperwork. William sat between Ethan and Noah, one hand on each boy's chest, feeling them breathe. His eyes were red-rimmed and hollow. Emily had seen that look before on her mother's face in the hospital, when they'd said there was nothing more they could do. The look of someone watching everything they love slip through their fingers. Hey, Emily said quietly, crouching beside him. They're still here. Still fighting for how long? His voice cracked. Even if the ambulance comes. Even if we get them to a hospital, what's to stop her from following through? She has access to their medical records, their treatment plans. She could, she won't, Emily interrupted. Trust me, but William shook his head. You don't know people like her. People with power, with connections, they always find a way to win. Emily wanted to argue, wanted to tell him that justice existed, that good people prevailed. All the comforting lies people told themselves. But she'd lived too much life to believe in fairy tales. Maybe, she said instead, but not tonight. That's when the window opened. Emily's head snapped up. The window, one of the large decorative ones overlooking the city, was suddenly, impossibly open. Wind and rain howled in, scattering napkins and programs. The candles guttered and died, and the makeshift towel tent over the boys collapsed in a heap of soaked fabric. What the? William lunged forward, trying to shield his sons from the downpour. Emily was already moving, grabbing the towels, trying to rebuild the tent, but everything was wet now, soaking wet. The carefully maintained warmth, the steam, the fragile bubble of safety she'd created gone in seconds. And the boys, all 3 of them, started to crash. Ethan's breathing went from labored to desperate, his small chest heaving with the effort. Noah's lips turned blue before Emily's eyes. Liam didn't even have the energy to panic. He just sagged in his chair, eyes rolling back. No, no, no. Emily's hands shook as she tried to reposition them, tried to clear their airways, tried to do something, anything. But it wasn't working. The cold air, the shock, the sudden loss of the humid environment. It was too much. The window was locked, Jasmine said from somewhere behind Emily, her voice high with panic. I checked it myself after we set up. It was locked. Emily turned, met Victoria's eyes across the chaos. The manager stood perfectly still, expression unreadable. But there was something in her posture, a slight tension in her shoulders. Guilt, no calculation. She'd opened it. Or had someone else do it, you bitch, Emily breathed. You did this, did what? Victoria's voice was all innocence. I've been standing right here. Perhaps someone forgot to secure the latch. Old buildings, things fail. Emily wanted to scream. Wanted to launch herself across the room and strangle Victoria with her bare hands, but she didn't have time for rage. The boys were dying, right now, right in front of her. She grabbed Noah first because he was closest, tilted his head back, checked his airway. Still open, barely. William, I need you to hold Ethan upright, keep his chin up. Airway clear. William moved like a man in a nightmare. But he moved. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely grip his son's shoulders. Miguel, Emily called out, get me something dry, blankets, tablecloths. Anything. There's nothing. The rain. Just find something. She turned to Liam, the smallest, the weakest, the one who'd been struggling the most all night. His breathing was barely there, tiny, ineffective gasps that moved almost no air. His skin had gone from pale to gray, and his eyes, God, his eyes were the worst part. They stared at nothing, seeing something Emily couldn't, somewhere far away, somewhere she'd seen her brother go. Years ago, and never come back from, Liam, Emily said, her voice breaking for the first time all night. Liam, baby, I need you to stay with me. Can you do that? Can you stay? Nothing. Not even a flicker. Emily pressed her fingers to his neck, feeling for a pulse. It was there, thready and fast and weak, but there. She put her cheek near his mouth, feeling for breath. Almost nothing. She made a decision. William, she said, her voice suddenly calm in a way that scared even her. If I do CPR, there's a chance I'll crack his ribs. He's small, fragile, but if I don't, do it. William said immediately, whatever you have to do, just don't let him go. Emily positioned her hands on Liam's tiny chest, felt for the landmarks, sternum, ribs, the fragile architecture of a 5-year-old's body. Her CPR certification was 3 years old. Renewed at a community center class, she'd scraped together $40 to attend. She'd never actually used it, never thought she'd have to. She pressed down, gentle but firm. Counting in her head, 30 compressions, 2 breaths, repeat. Liam's chest rose and fell under her hands. Nothing. She kept going. 32. 32. Come on, she whispered. Come on, astronaut. You don't get to quit on me. Not after everything. Come on. The world narrowed to just this. Just her hands in his chest and the count in her head and the desperate, furious hope that maybe, somehow, it would be enough. And then, like a miracle she didn't deserve, Liam coughed. It was a terrible sound, wet and painful and weak, but it was a sound, air moving, life. His eyes fluttered open. Found hers, there you are, Emily sobbed. There you are, but she couldn't celebrate, because next to her, Ethan was making a sound like a broken whistle, and Noah had stopped making any sound at all. Emily looked up at William, at his face full of the worst question a parent could ask. Which child do you save first? She wanted to scream at the universe for the unfairness of it all. That's when Ethan whispered something so quiet Emily almost missed it. The drawing, he said. She broke it. Emily's brain, even in the chaos, caught on that. What drawing, honey? The picture. Of Mommy. Ethan's eyes were wet. Aunt V said, Mommy wanted the new air machine. But Mommy's drawing said something else. Said he coughed. Said the money goes to doctors for everyone. Not just us. Emily's heart stopped. Where's the drawing? Ethan. The one your mom made. She tore it, Ethan whispered. I saw her. And Emily understood. The letter. The one Jasmine had found torn up in the recycling. Victoria hadn't just hidden Olivia's real wishes. She'd destroyed them. Emily turned to face Victoria. The manager had gone very still. 18 minutes, Victoria said into the silence. The ambulance will be here in 18 minutes, if you're all still interested in saving them. That is, her smile was a knife. Emily had lived through her darkest moment once before. In a different hospital and a different child who didn't make it. She'd promised herself she'd never feel that helpless again. She'd promised her brother, but promises were easy. Keeping them was something else. She looked at Noah, blue-lipped and silent, and then at Ethan, gasping like a fish on land. Liam was breathing, barely, but for how long? 18 minutes until the ambulance, 18 minutes that might as well be 18 hours. Choose, her brain screamed. You have to choose. But Emily Hayes had spent 8 years learning how to do impossible things with nothing, and she was done choosing. Miguel, she said, her voice cutting through the chaos. That kitchen, does the gas stove still work? It's gas-powered, so yeah, but I need every pot you have. Fill them with water and get them boiling now. The kitchen's flooded from the window, then boil water in a goddamn puddle if you have to. Move, Miguel ran. Emily turned to Jasmine, tablecloths. The thick ones from the banquet tables. And I need duct tape, clothespins. Anything that'll hold fabric in place. We don't have, check the maintenance closet, the janitor keeps supplies there. Go, Jasmine went. Emily grabbed William by the shoulders. Listen to me very carefully. I'm going to teach you exactly what I'm doing. And then you're going to help me. Can you do that? William nodded, but his eyes were wild. I don't know if You can, Emily said firmly, because they're your sons, and right now, you're all they have, understand? Something shifted in William's expression. The panic didn't leave, but it crystallized into something sharper. Focus. Tell me what to do, he said. Emily moved fast. She pulled Ethan onto the floor, positioning him on his side. This is the recovery position. See how his airway stays open. If he passes out, this keeps him breathing. You're going to monitor him. Count his breaths. If he stops, you yell. How many breaths should? Anything more than 0, Emily said. Trust your gut. She moved to Noah next. His pulse was weak but present. She tilted his head back, cleared his airway with her fingers, checking for obstructions she prayed weren't there, and started rescue breaths. 1, 2, 3. Noah coughed, sputtered. His eyes cracked open. That's it, Emily breathed. Come on, sweetheart, stay with me. William was positioned by Ethan, one hand on his son's chest, eyes locked on Emily like she was the only solid thing in a tilting world. Liam was still conscious, but fading fast. Emily grabbed the pendant around his neck, Olivia's pendant, and pressed it into his small palm. Feel this, she said. Your mom's right here. She's not going anywhere, and neither are you. Breathe with me, okay? Just like we practiced. Liam's fingers closed weakly around the pendant. Emily started the count. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Liam tried. His chest barely moved, but it moved. Miguel returned with pots of boiling water, steam rising in great clouds. Right behind him came Jasmine with an armload of thick burgundy tablecloths and a roll of duct tape that looked like it had been through a war. Perfect, Emily said. Now we build a tent. She worked with the speed of desperation and the precision of someone who'd spent a lifetime improvising solutions. The tablecloths went up first, draped over the backs of chairs and duct taped into place. Not pretty, but functional, a sealed space. Miguel brought in pot after pot of boiling water, placing them strategically inside the makeshift tent. Within minutes, the temperature inside rose. Steam filled the enclosed space, thick and humid. All 3 boys, Emily instructed, inside. Now, they moved the children carefully, positioning them so each could breathe the steam without being too close to the hot pots. Emily crawled in with them, William right behind her. It was cramped, hot. The air was thick enough to chew, but it worked. Slowly, so slowly, Emily thought she might be imagining it. The wheezing eased. Ethan's breathing deepened. Noah's lips went from blue to pink. Liam opened his eyes fully for the first time in 20 minutes. Mommy, he whispered, looking at the steam like it was a ghost. Emily's throat tightened. She's here, baby. She's always here. William made a sound halfway between a laugh and a sob. He gathered Liam into his lap, rocking slightly. You're okay. You're all okay. But they weren't out of the woods yet. Emily could feel it, the fragile nature of the solution. The boys were stable, but stable wasn't safe. They needed real medicine, real equipment from outside the tent. Victoria's voice drifted in, sharp and cold, very impressive. But you're just delaying the inevitable. 13 minutes, Emily. Then we're back to negotiations. Emily ignored her. She focused on the count, on the rhythm, on keeping 3 little boys breathing. Tell me a story, Noah said suddenly, his voice raspy but stronger. A story, Emily repeated, about the astronauts on planet Nebula. Noah looked up at her with those enormous eyes. Mommy used to tell us stories. Emily glanced at William. He nodded, tears on his cheeks. Okay, Emily said, once upon a time. There were 3 brave astronauts exploring a planet made of clouds. She spun the tale as she monitored their breathing, as she kept the rhythm going. The story was ridiculous. Astronauts who breathed fog. A spaceship powered by teamwork, a mission to save a distant star. But the boys listened, transfixed, and as they listened, they breathed deep, steady breaths. William picked up the thread when Emily faltered, adding details about the astronauts' rocket print uniforms and their special medallions that kept them safe. His voice was thick with emotion, but he kept going. Liam clutched his pendant. Ethan leaned against his father's arm. Noah reached for Emily's hand. and they breathed. Together, the air exists, Emily murmured, echoing what she'd told Noah earlier. We just have to take it together, outside the tent. Miguel's voice, Ms. Lane, I think you should see this, not now. No, seriously, you need to see this. There was movement, footsteps. Then Victoria's voice, sharp, with something Emily had never heard before. Fear. What is that? What did you... Cloud storage, Miguel said calmly. Uploaded about 15 minutes ago. Every document from that folder, every receipt, every email, all backed up to 5 different servers. Plus the recording of your little speech earlier, the one about how you've been stealing from sick kids. Silence. The police are on their way, Jasmine added. We called them 10 minutes ago. Gave them everything. You can't, Victoria started. Already did, the bartender said. Emily recognized his voice. Quiet guy. Always kept to himself. Got the whole thing on video. You threatening Mr. Carter, admitting to fraud. All of it. Emily felt something loosen in her chest. Not relief, not yet, but something close to hope. The ambulance will be here in 7 minutes, Miguel continued. The police about 3 minutes after that. So, if I were you, Ms. Lane, I'd start thinking about a good lawyer. Inside the tent, William was smiling through his tears. The boys were breathing. The steam rose around them like a blessing. And for the first time all night, Emily let herself believe they might actually make it. Keep counting, she told William. Don't stop. I won't, he promised. Outside, sirens began to wail in the distance. Coming closer, coming home. The sirens cut through the rain like salvation wrapped in noise. Emily stayed in the tent with the boys, counting breaths, monitoring color, keeping the rhythm steady, but she could hear everything happening outside. The rush of footsteps on the stairs, the static crackle of radios, voices calling out positions and status updates. Paramedics coming through, the tent flap lifted, and a woman in navy blue knelt beside Emily. Her name tag read Chun. She had kind eyes and efficient hands already reaching for her equipment. I'm Emily. These are the triplets, we got the call, Chun's partner. A broad-shouldered guy named Torres was setting up a portable oxygen system. Respiratory crisis, correct? Asthma attack triggered by... Emily paused. What was the truth? Sabotage. Expired inhalers. By inadequate equipment and environmental factors. Chun looked at her sharply. You, the one who's been keeping them alive. I did what I could. Well, whatever you did, it worked. Chun placed a pediatric oxygen mask over Ethan's face. The boy didn't resist. He was too tired. Vitals are stable. Breathing's labored but functional. You built this setup, Emily nodded. Smart, Torres said, fitting Noah with his own mask, steam tint. Controlled humidity, textbook improvisation. You have medical training, just experience. Emily didn't elaborate. Didn't mention the brother she'd lost or the years she'd spent preparing for a moment like this, hoping it would never come. Chun examined Liam, her expression softening. Hey there, little astronaut. We're going to make you feel better, okay? Liam's eyes found Emily scared, asking permission. It's okay, Emily told him. These are the good guys. They've got the real equipment. Within minutes, all 3 boys were on oxygen. Color returned to their faces. Their breathing, while still audible, lost that desperate edge. Emily felt the tension in her shoulders ease for the first time in hours. William hovered nearby, unwilling to leave his sons, but also clearly in the way. Are they going to be okay? We need to get them to the hospital for a full workup, Chun said. But they're stable. You got lucky. Luck had nothing to do with it, William said. Looking at Emily, Torres was packing up the makeshift steam pots, examining the setup with professional interest. Whoever did this knew what they were doing. We've seen trained EMTs panic and do worse. He glanced at Emily. You sure you're not in the medical field? She's a waitress, Victoria's voice cut in from outside the tent. Everyone turned. Victoria stood flanked by 2 police officers. Her arms crossed, expression defiant despite the handcuffs on her wrists. A waitress who exceeded her authority and endangered these children with unlicensed medical procedures, Victoria continued. I tried to stop her, but ma'am, you've been advised to remain silent, one of the officers said. He was older, gray at the temples, with the tired look of someone who'd seen too many cases like this. His badge read Sergeant Morrison. I have rights, which include shutting up before you make this worse, Morrison said flatly. He turned to Emily. You're Emily Hayes. Emily's stomach dropped. Yes, the staff says you're the one who organized the emergency response. Here it comes, Emily thought, the part where I get blamed for not having credentials, for overstepping, for you saved 3 lives tonight, Morrison said. The paramedics confirmed it. Whatever you did, it was enough. Emily blinked. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. We're going to need a full statement. Everything that happened, start to finish. Morrison's eyes flicked to Victoria, and everything you know about her involvement. There's nothing to know, Victoria snapped. This is a witch hunt orchestrated by a desperate employee trying to... We have the recordings, Jasmine interrupted. Stepping forward with her phone, everything Ms. Lane said, including the part where she admitted to manipulating the situation to force Mr. Carter to sign over control of his son's medical trust. Morrison's eyebrows rose. That right? There's also documented evidence of financial fraud, Miguel added. Holding up his phone, fake receipts, inflated purchases, embezzled funds from the charity foundation, all uploaded to the cloud and backed up. And witness statements. The bartender, whose name Emily finally learned was David, chimed in. Ms. Lane opened the window during the crisis, deliberately sabotaged the emergency treatment. We all saw it. Victoria's face went pale, then read, You can't prove, actually. We can, Morrison said. He nodded to his partner, a younger officer named Brooks, read her rights again, properly this time. As Brooks began the Miranda warning, Victoria's composure finally cracked. This is ridiculous. I was trying to help that woman, she pointed at Emily. She's the one who should be arrested. Practicing medicine without a license, reckless endangerment. Funny thing about that, Chun said. Still kneeling beside Liam, Good Samaritan laws protect people who provide emergency care in good faith. What Ms. Hayes did, textbook emergency response, what you did. She looked at Victoria with open disgust. That's called criminal negligence. Maybe worse, depending on what the investigation turns up. Victoria opened her mouth, then closed it. For the first time all night, she had nothing to say. Morrison turned to Emily. We're going to need you to come down to the station. Give a formal statement. Probably going to be a long night, I understand, Emily said. She looked at the boys, now stabilized and breathing easy. Can I just make sure they're okay first? We're transporting them now, Torres said. You can ride with us if you want, Mr. Carter, too. William looked at Emily like she'd hung the moon. Please, I can't. His voice broke. I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to, Emily said quietly. Just take care of them. The next hour was a blur of activity. The boys were loaded onto stretchers, still conscious. Still breathing, clutching each other's hands as they were wheeled out. William went with them, pausing only to squeeze Emily's shoulder in silent gratitude. Emily rode in the ambulance. Watching Chun and Torres work with practiced efficiency, they administered medication, monitored vitals, kept up a steady stream of calm chatter with the boys. Professional, competent, everything Emily wished she could be. You really should consider medical school, Chun said at one point. You've got the instincts for it, Emily laughed, a little bitter. I've got 3 jobs and student loans from a degree I never finished. Medical school isn't exactly in the cards. Maybe not, Chun said. But there are other paths, EMT certification, nursing, respiratory therapy. She handed Emily a card. Think about it. We need people who can think on their feet like you did tonight. Emily pocketed the card, not quite believing it was real. At the hospital, the boys were whisked away to the pediatric unit. William followed, but not before turning back to Emily one more time. Whatever you need, he said. Anything. I mean it. Just take care of them, Emily repeated. Sergeant Morrison was waiting in the lobby. Ready to give that statement, Emily took a deep breath. Yeah, I'm ready. They walked out into the rain. Past the news crews already gathering for the story, past the police cars with their flashing lights, painting the night red and blue. Victoria was in the back of one of them, staring straight ahead, jaw tight. Emily didn't look at her. Didn't need to. Some battles. You win just by surviving, and tonight. Everyone had survived. 3 months later, the mezzanine looked different in daylight, softer. The windows that had blown open during the storm were now sealed tight, new frames installed with proper locks. The space that had once hosted a corrupted charity gala now served a different purpose entirely. Emily stood at the entrance, holding a clipboard and trying not to feel out of place. She wore scrubs, light blue, with a name badge that read Emily Hayes, Family Liaison. Olivia Carter, Pediatric Respiratory Wing. The badge still felt strange, like it belonged to someone else. You getting sentimental? She turned. William stood behind her, hands in his pockets, looking more relaxed than she'd ever seen him. The grief was still there, would always be there, but it had settled into something he could carry. 3 boys in matching hoodies were attached to him like barnacles, healthy and loud and very much alive. Maybe a little, Emily admitted. This is where it all happened, where you saved their lives, William corrected. Where we all did, Emily said. I just happen to know what pot to boil. The boys noticed her and immediately launched themselves forward. Ethan got there first, wrapping his arms around her waist. Noah was right behind, chattering about his new inhaler. It's blue and it makes a cool sound. And Liam hung back just slightly. Shy as always, clutching the pendant that never left his neck, Emily crouched down, meeting them at eye level. "Hey, astronauts, you ready for the big day? We get to cut the ribbon," Noah announced. "With giant scissors sound dangerous," Emily said seriously. "Think you can handle it?" "We've handled worse," Ethan said with the grave wisdom of a 5-year-old who'd seen some stuff. Emily laughed. Fair point. The ribbon-cutting ceremony was small and private, exactly how William wanted it. No press, no photographers looking for the perfect shot of the grieving widower and his miracle children. Just families, the ones who'd benefit from what they were building here. The mezzanine had been converted into a family meeting space, comfortable chairs, warm lighting, walls painted in soft blues and greens. Downstairs, where the main restaurant used to operate, was now a state-of-the-art pediatric respiratory clinic, free, open to anyone, no insurance required. Olivia's real dream, finally realized, on the wall near the entrance hung a timeline. Photos and documents arranged in careful order. The drawing the triplets had made 3 astronauts holding hands with their mother. The restored letter from Olivia, her handwriting elegant and determined, outlining her vision for accessible healthcare, a newspaper clipping about Victoria's arrest and the subsequent investigation that uncovered a network of charity fraud spanning 3 states, and tucked in the corner, almost hidden, was a photo someone had snapped during the crisis. Emily, soaked in sweat and rain, holding a pot of boiling water, her face set in fierce concentration. The caption read, "When systems fail, people step up." Emily hated that photo, but William had insisted. "People need to see it," he'd said. "Need to know that heroes don't always come from where you expect." The ceremony started at 2. Families filed in, parents holding children with inhalers, with oxygen tanks, with that particular look of constant worry that came with loving someone whose breathing couldn't be taken for granted. Emily knew that look, had worn it herself for years. William gave a speech, short and simple. He talked about Olivia's vision, about how she'd seen healthcare as a right, not a privilege, about how the foundation, now stripped clean of Victoria's corruption and rebuilt from the ground up, would honor that vision. "My wife believed that air shouldn't cost money," William said, his voice steady, that breathing shouldn't be a luxury. And she was right. There was applause, not polite charity gala applause, but real applause, the kind that came from gratitude. Then it was Emily's turn. She hadn't wanted to speak, had argued against it, actually. But William had pulled the "you saved my children" card, and that was hard to argue with. She kept it brief. "I'm not a doctor," Emily started, "not a nurse, not anyone with official credentials. I'm just someone who learned that when people need help, you don't wait for permission to give it." She paused. 3 months ago, I did what I could with what I had. Today, because of this clinic, families won't have to improvise. They'll have real equipment, real medicine, real support. That's what matters." More applause. Emily stepped back, relieved to be done. The ribbon cutting itself was chaotic and perfect. The boys wielded the oversized scissors with questionable coordination, William guiding their hands. And when the ribbon finally fell, everyone cheered. Liam held up his piece of ribbon like a trophy, grinning so wide, Emily thought her heart might burst. After the ceremony, Emily walked through the clinic with a small group of families. She showed them the nebulizer stations, tops of the line equipment. Nothing expired, everything checked and double-checked. The consultation rooms where respiratory therapists would work with patients on management plans. The education center where parents could learn emergency response techniques. Everything she wished had existed 8 years ago. A woman approached her, young, maybe early 20s, holding a toddler with a nasal cannula. "Is it really free?" she asked, like, "no hidden costs?" "Really free," Emily confirmed. "Equipment, medication, consultations, all of it." The woman's eyes filled with tears. "I've been rationing my daughter's inhaler, cutting the doses because I couldn't afford refills," she laughed. But it came out as a sob. "God, that's terrible, right? But I didn't know what else to do." Emily took her hand. "You did what you had to do. That's not terrible, that's survival." She squeezed gently. "But you don't have to survive alone anymore." The woman nodded, unable to speak. Her daughter reached for Emily, and Emily took her, this tiny girl with a plastic tube running to her nose and the brightest eyes Emily had ever seen. The girl touched Emily's name badge, tracing the letters with one finger. "You work here?" the mother asked. "I do," Emily said. "Family liaison, basically. I help people navigate the system. Make sure they get what they need, and you're the one from the news. The waitress who..." "That's me," Emily said, "though I prefer the title person who got lucky. It wasn't luck," the woman said firmly. "It was you." Emily didn't argue. She was learning to accept gratitude, even when it felt unearned. As the afternoon wore on, more families came through. Emily answered questions, gave tours, showed parents how to use the equipment. William had hired a full medical staff, respiratory therapists, pediatric specialists, nurses who actually gave a damn. But Emily was the bridge, the one who spoke both languages, medical and desperate. By evening, the clinic was quiet. Most families had left. The triplets were sprawled on the floor of the family room, building something complicated with blocks. William sat nearby, watching them with the expression of someone who'd learned not to take breathing for granted. Emily collapsed into a chair beside him. "That was exhausting." "You were amazing," William said. "I just talked to people. You gave them hope." William looked at her. "That's not nothing," Emily shrugged, uncomfortable with praise as always, but she allowed herself a small smile on the wall across from them. The timeline gleamed in the fading light, the journey from crisis to creation, from desperation to something better. "Olivia would have loved this," William said quietly. "Not the circumstances, God, not the circumstances, but the result." He gestured to the space around them. "This is what she wanted. A place where air reaches everyone." "It's a good dream," Emily said. "It's her dream," William corrected. "You just helped make it real." Outside, the city hummed with life. Inside, 3 boys played with blocks, their breathing easy and unlabored. And somewhere in between, Emily Hayes, former waitress, current family liaison, future nursing student. If that card from paramedic Chun panned out, allowed herself to believe that maybe, sometimes, the world could be better than it was, that broken systems could be fixed, that lost people could be found, that air, that most basic of needs, could reach everyone who needed it. Liam looked up from his blocks, caught Emily's eye, and smiled. He touched the pendant at his neck, the one that said Olivia, and went back to playing. And Emily, for the first time in 8 years, felt the weight of her brother's pendant against her chest and thought, "We made it. We're okay." The air was enough.